Hello and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. Today's program includes an update of activities by the Cannabis Licensing Authority, plus how you can contribute to the CDA Cares initiative. We also highlight the training of farmers to use the computer by the Manchester Parish Branch Library. There is more, so please stay with us.
It's been 11 months.
7 years.
12 years.
Since I became the most important person in the world.
It's a big responsibility to know that her future is in our hands.
I have to tell him and show him that he is my number one. I want to prepare them for life's journey. So as them grow, them know the difference between right and wrong.
I gotta make sure that I keep him out of bad company. Because if I don't raise him right, the streets are gonna raise him.
I feel, she feel.
If me stumble, him fall. Knowing I'm responsible for their future and they're responsible for Jamaica's future.
So I won't give up or allow her to quit.
I'm gonna make sure I'm safe on the straight and narrow.
Me prefer to tell them no now than watch them regret it later.
Because to the world, I'm just another person. But to my child, I'm the whole wide world.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, May 4. The Ministry of Health will be embarking on a $3.5 billion program to upgrade critical health infrastructure over the next 2 years. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made the announcement during his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday.
What is important is that we cannot continue to limp along with an ailing infrastructure and pretend that we are able to respond to the health challenges that our people face. We have to do something about it, and we have to start now, Mr. Speaker.
He says most of the money will come from the reserves of the National Health Fund, but says the expenditure will not jeopardize the viability of the NHF.
The Health Fund, Mr. Speaker, has $10 billion in reserves. And to be totally cautious about this, what we did, Mr. Speaker, we commissioned a study by KPMG to determine the entity's viability based on future expenditures and projected revenue stream. Following that study, we concluded that a withdrawal of some $3.5 billion over 2 years would allow that entity to meet its obligations up to the next 10 years comfortably, all other things being equal.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health will be expanding the scope of its project to reduce waiting time in accident and emergency departments. The $353 million project, which started last year, targeted 7 hospitals and their closest health centers, whose opening hours were extended among other operational improvements.
The extended hours allowed persons to be able to visit the health centers after regular work hours, thus decreasing the visits to the accident and emergency rooms, and by extension decreasing the daytime congestion in some of these health centers.
Over the next year, the ministry will be putting measures in place to further reduce triage times in the targeted facilities. An additional 4 hospitals and related health centers will also be targeted for intervention. Government is considering legislation to govern how national examinations are conducted. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says this is due to the numerous complaints that continue to be lodged with the Ministry of Education.
The government has a role and probably should intervene because many of these exams lead to national certification. And we need to be able to verify that they have gone through a process that is standard, that is fair and transparent.
The Prime Minister's announcement came during a wrap session with students at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies on Wednesday. He said a policy on national examinations would first be developed in order to guide the proposed legislation. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid told the JIS News that more details on the policy would come in September, after which the legislation will be developed. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is now the 18th head of government to be inducted into the University of the West Indies Park of Honor. The park was established in 2005 to honor graduates who have been or are serving as CARICOM heads of government. At Wednesday's induction ceremony, Prime Minister Holness expressed his profound gratitude for the honor.
I am very, very humbled by this honor. and I want to thank the University of the West Indies, such a very important institution in our society, for bestowing this honor on me. Thank you very much.
Mr. Holness used the occasion to encourage students to press through financial obstacles to complete their studies. He also shared options being explored by his administration to assist with funding for tertiary education.
If we are going to expand tertiary education, then the subsidy may have to shift from the fees to a subsidy for financing, meaning that you have to make it easier and more accessible for students to finance the education rather than to give a subsidy for fees. It might be not the best model, but it is the model that I believe that could see an expansion in the number of students entering tertiary education.
And finally, the Mandeville Tax Office reopened for business today following a tragic incident on Wednesday. The office was closed to facilitate grief counseling for staff after the death of a female worker who was shot and killed yesterday morning. Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, says counseling continues to be provided to ensure the smooth restoration of normal operations at that location. This means that taxpayers can now conduct their usual business transactions. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
The Cannabis Licensing Authority has held consultations across 13 parishes to gather feedback that is vital to the drafting of policies to regulate the industry. The authority held a think tank recently to give an update on its activities, and we have a recap.
The Cannabis Licensing Authority is a statutorily constituted authority who holds the responsibility for developing a responsible, licensed cannabis industry. This industry only deals with 3 subject matters in relation to cannabis, which are the medical, scientific and therapeutic use of cannabis. Thus, any cannabis usage outside of that purview, the CLA does not have any jurisdiction over. We passed interim regulations. The regulations were interim because we knew that when we first did a set of regulations, we were going to have to go back to the drawing board in order to see what was going to happen in the industry and to make amendments. So we have passed the interim regulations and are currently in the process of amending those regulations. We engaged in stakeholder consultation throughout the island. We visited 13 out of 14 parishes, and we sought to get feedback from all of the stakeholders. We took all of that information and to see what can we do, what should we do, and then ultimately to make the decision what would we do. So the regulations are currently being amended in that form. There are 5 different types of applications: cultivating, processing, transport, retail, and research and development. And just so you know, We have a website which is cla.org.jm, which details all requirements in relation to all of these licenses. The cultivator's license is currently separated into 3 parts. One is under an acre, second is 1 to 5, and third is over 5. Processing, you're dealing with 2 types of facilities. One is under 200 square meters, the second is over 200 square meters. Transport is as it says. Retail, there are 3 different types of retail licenses. One is the pharmacy or dispensary. Second is what we consider to be the spa aspect of it, and something called a herb house. And finally, you have the research and development component, which is separated into 2. One is experimental, and the second one is analytical. An application is going to take a minimum of 6 months. We have to do our due diligence exercise, but that due diligence exercise involves reliance on other agencies. So you're going to PICA, FID, various police security agencies, in order to ensure that the participants in this industry pass the necessary fit and proper standards in order to partake in the industry. Once that fit and proper standard has been satisfied, we get to a stage where we have a review committee which determines whether or not a conditional license is given. We recognize that a person cannot put money into the ground in a circumstance where they don't know if they're going to get a license. So let's say a facility. Are you going to go ahead and build over a 200 square meter facility when you don't know if you're going to be able to pass fit and proper for us? No. So what that conditional license does is it says you have passed all of the background so that you may then go ahead and undertake your physical infrastructure requirements. Once all of that is done, we then have to undertake a physical inspection of the actual location. Once that physical inspection has then been passed, then at that point in time, you are able to go ahead and get a license by the CLA. Now, to date, there have only been conditional licenses that are issued. I think the number is 15. No final license has yet been granted. So far, the CLA, I believe, has done an amazing job in terms of ensuring that the participants in this industry are necessary to make sure that it is done in a safe and responsible manner.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, more than a supper.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think I saw? We reach out the edging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
We conclude our spotlight on the Jamaica Library Service with the Manchester Parish Branch engaging farmers through its computer training program. The Manchester Parish Library Network is the oldest and the largest library network of the Jamaica Library Service that covers 12 branch libraries, including the Christiana Branch Library. The remaining branch libraries within the parish network are predominantly located in the farming communities of Newport, Lancaster, Marley Hill, Porus, Broadleaf, Belfield, Bombay, Cross Keys, Huntley, Maidstone, and Mile Gully.
The Christiana Branch Library is the largest branch library in our parish network, and it began in 1976. The Manchester Parish Library benefited from 84 computers through the Global Libraries project, and Christiana got 18 of those computers. A partnership was formed between the Jamaica Library Service and RADA, and the aim of this partnership is to provide training for farmers, and the program we're offering is Tech IT to the farmers. So it's basic computer training that we're offering to farmers, and they're really excited about the program.
Through this partnership, RADA will identify suitable farmers from the various farming groups within Manchester as well as other parishes across Jamaica, and the Jamaica Library Service will in turn offer free computer training to these farmers. The duration of the training program is between 6 to 8 weeks. At the end, the farmers will utilize the knowledge gained to improve their technological skills as well as to sell their produce online in a creative way.
We introduce to them the fundamentals of using the computer, of going on the internet to get various data or information to maintain the farms and new ways of operating the farms, and even how to personally benefit themselves by using computer.
The farming communities have been eager to get involved in this training process and reap the benefits of having valuable information on hand.
I find it to be very interesting because these are the days when we are to allow ourselves to learn new things, and it's so important to know that you can do things for yourself. It enables you to be independent, and that's what I like about it. I love to help myself, and because of that I take great pleasure in this opportunity of learning.
Suppose you want to grow crops, you just go on the website and you can look and you see crops and how you want to plant a crop.
It will help me that I can do some research, know more farming techniques and what other countries are doing.
Agriculture has been the lifeline for some communities within the parish of Manchester, and through the partnership between RADA and the Jamaica Library Service, the JLS, through its public libraries, is ensuring that the process is impacting the lives of farmers in a positive way.
I find it very, very important and helpful, and I would encourage farmers, especially now where jobs are hard to come by, to go into agriculture. The future of farming is definitely bright. And now, even more so, where technology is being introduced.
With the integration of technology in farming, the prospects for farmers are unlimited. Farmers, please contact your nearest RADA offices or the parish libraries for further details on how to participate in these computer training programs.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next Prime Minister.
Sexual abuse is always a very difficult thing to confront, particularly when the alleged victim is a child. Parents, if it is that you suspect that your child has been sexually abused or is in a vulnerable set of circumstances where an abuse may occur, we encourage you to have dialogue with your child. Take the child to the pediatrician who normally attends to the child. If there is no such pediatrician, take your child to the clinic, to the hospital, to some medical practitioner who can do an assessment for you. It's very important as well that we don't just look at the physical side, but we also seek to find the kind of psychosocial support that a child may need. Does the child need a session with a counselor? Does the child need to speak with a pastor who is used to dealing with these issues? Does the child need to get that ongoing psychological support to assist with the healing process and also to assist the child in becoming strong enough, as it were, to deal with the various processes that will follow once it is that you suspect an abuse has occurred? If it is that the child actually discloses when you engage the child in discussion that yes, mommy and daddy, I was abused, we encourage you to entertain the child, to listen to what the child has to say to you, and to take it very seriously. So we really urge you to have those discussions and to seek guidance in terms of, do I speak to the police about this, which we always say you have to. Because once a child has been sexually abused, it's a criminal matter, and it means that once at all possible, the child should be assisted to go through the processes so that the perpetrator can in fact be held accountable. Support your child and let them understand in very clear terms that they are not the cause or the reason for this abuse having been perpetrated. But the most important element is to support them, get them access to the services that they need, and give them a chance to have you give them that listening ear. For these tips and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm. Thank you.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you say to me sister, cause she could be the next Prime Minister.
Building a network of volunteers to offer assistance to children in state care is an initiative of the Child Development Agency called CDA Cares. The aim is to pool resources such as skills and donations and make them readily available to homes across the island. Here's more on how you can get involved.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place.
Are you into volunteering? Would you like to give back to society? More specifically, are you interested in giving your time and resources to a child in a state home? If the answer to these questions is yes, then this initiative by the Child Development Agency, dubbed CDA Cares, is for you. The program began rolling out in May 2016.
This is a voluntary corp that we are soliciting help from the general public, spearheaded by our own CDA officers, not necessarily children's officers, but other officers in the administrative areas who don't interact and interface directly with the children. And so the idea here is that we would have persons apply and be registered and certified as volunteers so that they can go into our children's homes.
The Volunteer Corps will reach out and offer their services to wards of state in areas such as counseling aid.
There's a lot of cases for counseling, for example. So the child doesn't necessarily have to go into a residential facility, but just needs some counseling support. So it could be a doctor who could volunteer to give medical assistance. It could be a psychologist or a counselor who could give some counseling support. And so we want to develop that volunteer pool so that our facilities, our children can benefit. You have trained professionals in the school system, for example, who are not working in that area. Can we get some sessionals with them? Can you give 2 hours after? So this is what the volunteer protocol is about. We want persons who are so trained to give off their time to help the children.
The CDA Cares initiative is formalizing outreach activities undertaken by various organizations, groups, and individuals who take part in outreach activities in these homes.
We have a lot of volunteers who go into the homes. You have some persons who will give donations. So if we have 50 homes, can we get 50 companies to adopt each of them? And there are youngsters there who might need support for tertiary, or we get a lot of scholarships from private sector to assist our students. Meaningful ways like that. So you might have volunteers here at the JIS who would want to partner to go into Mount Olivet, because I know you do Mount Olivet. So the idea is that we want to register and train them.
This training will be organized across the island, so interested persons can come on board. As part of the program, the CDA is also embarking on a Profiles of Children Homes initiative.
To come up with their needs list. What are the priorities for this home? So there's a Mount Olivet, there's a homestead. What are the major priorities so that we don't have duplication of efforts? So we can target. People call us, Child Month, people call us, what can we do? So if we have that profile and we know what the homes need, then we can properly direct persons to give the assistance there.
So what's in the criteria to be a part of this volunteer corps?
You must get a police record, for example. You know, you must get a reference from a reputable person, Minister of Religion, JP, so that we know you and somebody else can vouch that you can work with children. The spirit of volunteerism is really active in the country, and we just need to maximize those benefits for the children.
If you're interested, simply visit the CDA website to get an application. You may also contact them at 948-284122. Get on board and volunteer with the CDA. Show a child that you care.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Ease up on the energy.
Did you know that since we started our Ease Up on the Energy campaign, that electricity use in government buildings has dropped by around 4,200 kilowatt hours per building per month? We retrofitted and replaced old, inefficient air conditioning units with new energy-efficient models. That saved approximately $123 million for the government of Jamaica. What are you waiting for? I'm Hilary Alexander, asking all Jamaicans to join us and ease up on the energy.
Have you been a victim of sexual assault? Have you been raped? It doesn't matter if you're a boy, girl, man, or woman. There's a team of personnel willing and capable to assist you on the path to justice. The Victim Services Division. They provide support of all kinds, such as free, confidential counseling and assistance to attend court. You may not forget the ordeal, but the healing process will be easier. In any 1 year, more than 10,000 people get assistance. Don't hang your head in shame. Being a victim of a sex crime is not your fault. Contact the Victim Services Division. They're based at 47E Old Hope Road, Kingston 5.
And that's how we bring the curtains down on our show for today. But if you want to see it again, log on to our website at jis.gov.jm. We always welcome your feedback, so keep sending your comments to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. Our team will be back with another show tomorrow, same time, same station. On behalf of the production crew, I am Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.